The Wednesday Night Wars have officially begun and WrestleLamia has you covered. Join us now as WrestleLamia recaps and analyzes both shows, scoring them on wrestling, storylines, announcing, production values and more to see who was the ultimate winner of the first week. Let's get straight into it and start off with All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. AEW is coming to you from Washington DC's Capital One Arena, and Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross and Excalibur are on hand to call the action. It opens up with a hype video for Cody vs Sammy Guevara, and that match follows up next as Cody triumphs over Guevara, but Cody is laid out by AEW champion Chris Jericho after the match, culminating in Jericho powerbombing Cody onto 2 chairs. Ouch! The next match of the night sees Maxwell Jacob Friedman aka MJF take on Brandon Cutler. MJF talks trash before the match, then backs it up, submitting Cutler with an armbar. There's a segment with Chris Van Vliet interviewing Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes about their upcoming movie. Jack Evans and Angelico interrupt, but Private Party come out for the save. There's a hype video for SoCal Uncensored as the trio cut a promo in Washington DC. Tony Schiavone then interviews SoCal Uncensored about the upcoming AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament when the Lucha Brothers confront them. The Lucha Brothers attack and the 2 teams brawl until AEW officials break things up. The next match of the night sees Hangman Adam Page vs Pac. Pac lives up to his name, using a low blow to tip the odds. He then ended with a black arrow before instantly applying his brutalizer submission that forced referee Earl Hebner to call the bell. Dr. Britt Baker shows up to provide guest commentary, as next up is the match to crown the first ever AEW Women's Champion between Nyla Rose and Riho. It's a classic David vs Goliath story, as the much smaller Riho somehow triumphs over Rose, winning the AEW Women's Championship. After the match, Michael Nakazawa is ready to interview Riho in Japanese when an angry Nyla Rose lays out Nakazawa and Riho until Kenny Omega makes the save. And now it's time for the main event as the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega go up against Chris Jericho, Santana and Ortiz. Things take a turn for the wild when Jon Moxley runs in, brawling with Kenny Omega to the back, leaving the Bucks at a 2-on-3 disadvantage. But despite a solid effort, the Bucks can't overcome the odds, with Jericho hitting the Judas effect on Matt for the win. The heels aren't done though and start beating down Matt and Nick Jackson, that is until Cody runs in for the save. Sammy Guevara shows up, proving his true colours when he kicks Cody in the family jewels. Big brother Dustin arrives and starts cleaning house, but the heels have one more person on their side, MMA fighter Jake Hager, better known to wrestling fans as the All-American American Jack Swagger. Hager destroys Dustin as the heels annihilate the babyfaces, ending the show. But that was a quick recap of AEW's first Dynamite show. What about NXT? As NXT is coming from your usual Florida's Full Sail University with Mauro Ranallo, Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix calling the action. The show opens up big with an NXT Heavyweight Championship match between Adam Cole and Matt Riddle. The Undisputed Era's Cole defeats Riddle with the help of his cast. Since we got a shocking return to AEW, NXT had their own shocking return as Finn Balor arrived and says of now, Finn Balor is NXT. There's a hype video for tonight's NXT Women's Championship match and an in-ring promo by Velveteen Dream. Dream challenges Roderick Strong for the North American Heavyweight Championship. Next up, women's action as Mia Kim goes up against Io Shirai. Io gets a win with a moonsault. And what's this? Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are seen in the front row? What are they doing here? There's a hype video for the returning Tegan Nox. And next up is Johnny Gargano vs Shane Thorne. A super kick gets the win for Gargano. After that, it's the NXT Women's Championship match between Shayna Baszler and Candice LeRae. An excellent match that sees Baszler retain when she locks in the submission with a tap out. Next up is Danny Burch vs Pete Dunne, and Dunne wins this one with the bitter end. After the match, Damian Priest blindsides Dunne, and now it's time for the main event as NXT Tag Champions Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish take on the Street Profits. The Undisputed Era look to keep the gold around their waist, while Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are looking to become 2-time tag champions. The Street Profits don't make it though, as Ford is knocked off the mat apron, and the Undisputed Era hit the high-low on Dawkins for the win. It's time for the post-match celebration as Adam Cole comes out to join his Undisputed Era teammates. However, the returning Tommaso Ciampa comes out and he's not looking happy. Adam Cole looks uneasy at the side of his rival Ciampa as NXT closes out. But let's look at the scorecard as we judge both shows' opening, star power, wrestling, announcing, storytelling, production values, excitement and suspense, time management, and then we give our overall winner. Let's start off with the opening, as NXT did the smart thing opening up the show with arguably their strongest match, NXT champion Adam Cole defending the belt against Matt Riddle. Another smart move was running the show's first 30 minutes commercial free, so anyone who got into the match had less reason to change the channel. AEW on the other hand opened up with Cody vs Sammy Guevara, a decent match, but by no means their strongest match on the show. Is it possible AEW figured their word of mouth was so strong that people would have tuned in for just about anything? Well, whatever the reason, NXT made the right move and was the winner in this case. Next up, star power. While it looks like WWE may be bringing in main roster stars, as seen with Finn Balor showing up tonight, AEW has more recognizable stars for casual fans and of course devout wrestling fans. Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Cody and Dustin Rhodes, not to mention Jack Swagger, are the most recognizable stars. But if AEW continues promoting its stars like it did tonight, you can add Kenny Omega, Pac, Ortiz and Santana, the Young Bucks and Adam Page to the list. So AEW wins that round. Next up, who had better wrestling? The yellow brand may have been lacking on so many fronts tonight, but NXT wrestling was more solid and definitely more polished. Now don't get us wrong, Dynamite featured some excellent action, but the botches and weak blows tip things in NXT's favour as it wins this round. Next up, announcing. To be fair, NXT never had a chance as the team of Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone and Excalibur brought their A-game and presented a major league feel. NXT's announce team did a good job, as Mauro Ranallo was always on point, but AEW's announce team did a great job. There was no matching the combination of Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone, so AEW gets this one. Next up, storytelling. Whether it was hype videos, pre-match promos or interviews, AEW introduced new viewers to its stars, quickly establishing who was who, why their matches were important, and where storylines are headed. For a new viewer watching NXT, there's far less information presented on the different wrestlers and why the fans should care about them. The WWE has the tools to fix this, but they need to move soon as AEW is already ahead in this area. So they win the storytelling round. Next up, production values. At the risk of sounding like AEW marks, it's hard to even compare a sold-out show in a major arena with a sold-out show for a for-profit college's tiny arena. NXT's audience is enthusiastic and loud, but there was no comparison tonight. Should NXT move to a larger venue? If the ratings don't pan out, it's one thing to consider. Now this comparison won't feature every week as NXT comes from the same arena, and we guess it wouldn't be fair, but in its debut show, we have to compare it. But AEW wins that round. Next up, excitement and suspense, such as Finn Balor announcing he's an NXT star now, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's appearance, and the return of Tommaso Ciampa. However, the show couldn't compare to the wild end to the main event that featured a run-in by Jon Moxley, along with a wild brawl to the back, and a post-match beatdown by the heels on the babyfaces. Throw in the surprise debut of MMA star Jake Hager, aka Jack Swagger, and you definitely had more of a thrill ride. Can AEW do this every week? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but tonight's show was one of the most exciting 2 hours of wrestling in a long time, and this is from a promotion with only a handful of well-known stars. And lastly, time management. Now, we'll have to mention that this one is a tie, as both AEW and NXT did an excellent job utilizing their 2 hours of wrestling. But who's the definitive winner? Now, to its credit, NXT made the most of things, whether it was its music, its videos, or its camera work in minimizing the ridiculously small crowd size. Nonetheless, there was nothing NXT could do to hide the fact that they looked minor league compared to AEW when it came to everything but the wrestling. While NXT held its own in the wrestling department, i.e. work rate, there's much more to professional wrestling than just work rate. AEW put on a well-rounded product and made a strong debut. It'll be interesting to see if the ratings match AEW's debut performance and the accolades from fans and critics on social media, but in the first week of the war, they won the battle. But there you have it guys, our recap of both shows and who was the definitive winner of the first week. Did you agree that it was AEW? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.